Hi everyone. This is the second video on the chapter directing, chapter 7 of plus 2 CBSE Business Studies NCERT, and we are starting with the first thing, directing. We have done about the introduction of directing and we talked about the 4 elements: supervision, motivation, leadership, communication. Now we are coming to features and importance of directing, starting with the directing and its definition. Directing means giving instruction and guiding people in doing work. So when you instruct somebody in doing something, when you guide someone in doing something, you're directing. Like I said, light, camera, action, and that word action means nothing else but directing. Starting with the features of directing, the first feature says directing initiates action. When we talk about planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, planning, organizing, staffing are just set up. Controlling checks everything. What does directing do? Directing implements what you had set up. So, plan, organize, and you staff people. Planning, organizing, staffing, you set that up. You then direct. Direct means you implement it, and after that you check in controlling. So, the implementation or execution happens with nothing else but directing. Let's come back to the explanation. Directing is a key managerial function. So, it's a key managerial function out here. Manager has to perform this function along with planning, organizing, staffing, controlling. Here is planning, here is organizing, here is staffing, here is controlling. Like I told you, directing means what? That is the implementation time. While discharging his duties, while other functions prepare a setting for action. So, this is just setting for action. These are all preparing. This is preparing, setting for action, planning, organizing, prepare, setting for action, controlling checks it, but in between directing implements it. Directing initiates action, that means it implements. Out here I am writing out here, it implements or it helps in execution. That is a reason why directing is also called executive function. Right? It's called executing or executive function. That is the first feature, directing initiates action. Next, directing takes place at every level. It means pervasive. So, when we talk about taking place at every level, top, middle, lower level, everywhere directing is there. Every manager from top executive to supervisor performs the function of directing. Now, if you have a top level out here, manager, middle level and lower level, supervisors work out here. Of course, top level directs middle level, that means guiding and giving instruction. Middle level guides and instructs the lower level, and then lower level does the rest of the guiding and instruction for the workers. So, every manager from top executive to supervisor performs a function of directing. Directing takes place where superior subordinate relationship exists. He is a superior, he has a subordinate out here. This subordinate is superior to someone and has a subordinate, and everything keeps on going like this. He is a superior to these workers. Okay, next. Directing is a continuous process. Why? Because directing takes place throughout the life of the organization. Now, a manager may discontinue. He may go somewhere else, shift, retire. Somebody else will take his place. The moment he takes his place, he will direct. So, instruction and guiding will keep on happening. It is same case as that of your class teacher. You may have a change of class teacher or you may have a change of subject teacher, but they keep on directing you. The principal may change, the vice principal may change, but whosoever comes keeps on instructing and guiding you. Similarly, directing is a continuous activity. It takes place throughout the life of the organization, irrespective of people occupying managerial positions. The managers may change, but directing process continues, because without it, organizational activities cannot continue further. Like for example, in Infosys, Tata, there may be change of managers, but things continue. So, Infosys, Tata may change, but directing continues. Now, managers may change. Out here I have missed out. Managers may change, but the directing continues. Now, directing flows from top to bottom. Of course, yes, subordinate will not direct his superior what is to be done. I will direct my students. My students don't direct me what is to be done. So, subordinates don't direct me what is to be done. Again, my vice principal directs me what is to be done, or my coordinator directs me. I don't direct them what is to be done. Again, the principal directs the vice principal and the coordinators. The coordinators and the vice principal don't direct the principal what is to be done. So it always moves from where? Top to bottom, not from bottom to top. So if this is a superior with a crown and this is a subordinate with a different type of, so he will direct the subordinate. Directing is first initiated at top level. So this is your top level, okay, and flows to the bottom through the hierarchy. Okay, we'll have another level out here. Okay, this person has this kind of a cap. So top level, this is your middle level, and this is your lower level, right? It means that every manager can direct his immediate subordinate and take instruction from his immediate boss. भाई आपको ये क्या करेंगे, इंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे और आप इनको इंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे एंड आप क्या कर रहे हैं, यू मूविंग इन अ हायरार्की. सुपीरियर सबॉर्डिनेट, ये किसके सुपीरियर हैं, लोअर लेवल के, तो ये इनसे इंस्ट्रक्शन लेंगे और इनसे कौन इंस्ट्रक्शन लेगा, इनसे ये सारे के सारे वर्कर्स इंस्ट्रक्शन लेंगे. एंड दैट्स हाउ directing flows from top to bottom. So there are 4 features of directing. First is what? Directing initiates action. Second is what? It's pervasive. Third is what? It's continuous. Fourth is what? It flows from top to bottom. Next we do is importance of directing. So now we are going to start with importance of directing. Directing is key managerial function. Directing takes place throughout the life of the organization. So that means till the organization continues, directing has to happen. Why? Because without directing, without instructing, without guiding, things cannot work out in an organization. So we start with the first point or first importance of directing. The first point is directing brings stability and balance in the organization. For sure. Why? Stability and balance. You have organizational goals, you have individual goals. Now, sometimes there is a clash between both the goals, individual as well as organizational goals. You want to achieve your target, the organization wants or the manager wants you to achieve their target. What will happen? There would be some imbalance. That balance or that stability for people to stay has to come from nobody else but the manager. And how does manager behave? He actually literally creates cooperation and commitment from the people. He makes them realize their full potential. He makes them work according to the requirement of the organization and says organizational goals are more important than the individual goals. So directing fosters cooperation and commitment among employees, helps to achieve balance among various groups, activities and departments. So I can always mention out here that there are individual goals and organizational goals. Directing brings balance between the two. This is an add-on to how stability and balance can be brought to the organization by fostering what? Cooperation and commitment. People will become committed when they know that organizational goals are more than the individual goals. Next, directing initiates action. We've already done in the features. Planning, organizing, staffing were setting. They were we prepared a setting for carrying on the work in the organization. Directing implements it and controlling checks it. Same thing. So here if there is a superior and a subordinate, the superior will direct his subordinate what is to be done. He will tell his employee what is to be done. So he is the one who actually makes a employee do the work, or he is the one who actually helps in initiating action. Directing helps in initiating action. I can write it like this. Helps in initiating action as planning, organizing, okay, same thing we come down to, and staffing prepares, setting for the action, directing executes it, and controlling checks it. So the whole thing. So people in the organization attain desired objectives. This is done for the purpose of attaining the desired goals or objectives. For example, if a supervisor guides his subordinate and clarifies their doubts, so if all doubts are clarified, in performing a task, it will help a worker to achieve his targets easily. Of course, yes, if the superior is there to guide you, you will be able to work on your on anything, whatever is given to you in the organization in a better manner. Like for example, in a class, when teacher clarifies your doubts, it's easier to score well in the examination, whether internal or the board examination. Directing integrates employee efforts. Now there are different people with different thinking process, they perform work in a different manner. What we have to do is, we have to get them together and get the work done from them. How is it possible? The manager, he actually as a leader, he guides his people, he inspires them, he makes them do the work. And what exactly happens is, directing integrates employee efforts in the organization. So how he integrates, the directing means the manager integrates in such a way that every individual effort contributes to the organizational performance. So it ensures that individual work for the organizational goals. Of course, yes. A manager with good leadership qualities, leadership abilities, will be in a position to convince the employees working under him that individual efforts will lead to organizational efforts. So if you are a good leader, you inspire your workers better, they will be able to achieve their goals in an much easier and much simpler manner. Not much is required, you just have to make them work according to your requirement. You have to influence them, you have to inspire them. Next, directing guides employees to fully realize their potential. Now employees have their hidden potentials. Like in a class, there is a child who is good in one subject, may not be good in the other subject. It's for the teacher to realize the potential of that child, where his potential lies, and the moment she comes to know that and she is able to tap that potential, the child will get better marks in that particular subject. So what we need to do in an organization also, people come with different backgrounds, they have different way of doing things, and they have hidden talent or hidden potential that has to be tapped by the manager so that the goals can be achieved easily. Of course, that can only be done by influencing, that is through leadership, by motivating, that is by inspiration or inspiring, and through communication, that is by exchanging views and ideas. Until unless you tell your people what is to be done, you encourage them, you inspire them, you stimulate them, you influence them, things cannot be completed. So by providing leadership qualities, motivation, the manager taps hidden potential of subordinates, his own leadership qualities. He is able to extract work to fullest from his employee. He is able to do that. Why he is able to do that? Because he knows that that person can perform to the best of his ability. Next point, and the last point, directing facilitates introduction of changes. I remember very well, there was a time when in our school there was a training program by Intel for computers, teachers to learn computers, because we were told that we have to upload marks in the computer room ourselves for every examination. We got training for it, we got certificates also, but most of the teachers did not know how to do it. So ultimately it used to take a lot of time. The computer department started doing it. See, what changes came in? Now the CBSE wants the teachers to upload the marks on computers, and this pandemic made all teachers actually to be techno savvy. So this training, Intel training program, came somewhere around in 2000. Had we learned it 20 years back, today would have been much techno savvy and much smarter in dealing with technology. A lot of people are facing glitch with the technology that would have not been there. It is the job of the manager to do what? To convince and actually make the employee comfortable that technology changes are for his benefit, not for his any other bad or something like that. I'll give you another example. The government of India, when it introduced in various departments computers, many people planned to take voluntary retirement. The reason was they were not comfortable and they resisted that computer to be used. They wanted to work manually. Again, government gave them 1 year time to learn computer, perform. It was taught free of cost, give them 1 year's time to train them. Once they got trained, they became comfortable with it, and now almost all of our government departments have computers to back up the data. So that's how it is the job of the leader to influence and guide the people to work in a better manner. Generally, people have a tendency to resist change. People do not like changes. None of us like changes. None of us are liking the online classes in the organization. Effective directing through motivation, communication, and leadership helps to reduce such resistance or such resistance and develops cooperation for introducing changes, undoubtedly. So when you talk about guiding the employee to realize their full potential, you have to do the same thing. You have to guide your people, and that happens only when this happens, then only you are able to introduce change, because people do not like changes. So for example, a manager wants to introduce new system of accounting. In case if he wants to do that, there may be initial resistance, but if manager explains the purpose, provides training, motivates, gives rewards that people are doing better, it becomes easy to accept changes for the subordinates. They will easily cooperate with the manager. So that's all with the importance of directing. Next video will be taking up supervision and motivation. Till then, bye bye.